Morales, the travel goddess. I own the travel agency with offices in Los Angeles, New York, and London. I've been in the entertainment niche market for about 12 years or so. I've been a travel agent for over 25 years. So there we go. And I'm here to help you understand how to move during and after this pandemic, which has been completely unprecedented. Something we've never seen before.
Ever. Or in our lifetime, at least.
In our lifetime at all, yes.
But at least in our lifetime. Yes. It's a few people still kicking that experienced it, but not a whole lot.
No, that's for sure.
I thought it was really important for us to, when Paris reached out to me about you being a part, I was like, this would be amazing because travel is life.
Travel is life, and it's gotten progressively life for the last 5 years, I would say at least. Everybody wants to have their own personal experience, whether that's a short trip, a long trip, a close trip, a far trip. I mean, people are moving their bodies across the planet now at an unremarkable
rate. Exactly. So I thought that this topic would be great because if you were anybody like myself and probably whomever else is on the call today, we had trips planned this year.
Yes.
Or we have trips planned later this year.
Yes.
So it's good to be able to have a conversation so that we can have a better understanding of kind of what life is going to be after this. So I'm going to go a little bit into our description, and then I'll go ahead and jump right into the first question.
Brilliant.
So travel has been hit hard by the current coronavirus pandemic. Much of the world is on lockdown. Many people are unable or unwilling to travel. Flights are operating with a decreased frequency. I saw a video the other day of the airport, Atlanta, one of the busiest airports, and half of the airplanes were sitting there. And I was like, this looks
a ghost town everywhere. LA.
It just looks scary.
ATL, ORD, ghost town. It's
crazy. The only thing that seems to be getting through all the closed borders and traveling bans right now is the virus itself.
Yeah.
It can be hard to see beyond the time in the near total grounding to the trip at the end of the tunnel. However, no, the question is not will travel return, but what will it actually look like when it returns? It will return.
Keep the planet in their homes indefinitely. That's just not going to work. Everybody's got the travel bug. And I also feel as a human being, once we're denied something, we want it 100 times more. So we've been denied interaction with one another. We've been denied freedom to move. So that actually makes people want to do it even more. So it's definitely going to come back. You know, it may look different. Lots of industries, not just the travel industry, but every industry is going to look a lot different after this. Your day-to-day life is going to look a lot different after this.
So speaking of day-to-day, what has like your day-to-day life been like since the coronavirus outbreak?
Crickets. The first couple of weeks when, we were still trying to really make sense of this, it was a lot of changes and cancellations. I'm not going to even lie. We probably spent the first 2 weeks of this just canceling everything, seeing if we can refund. Every airline has a different waiver policy. And for us, we have to make sure that the verbiage is right. And, all of that good stuff, canceling hotels, begging for cancellation policies. And we are very fortunate that our vendor partners were willing to cancel and refund or waive change fees for future travel. So yeah, it's been pretty dead. We literally went from working like crazy people
Right.
to radio silence. Like literally my phone is not ringing with any amount of work. A few, you know, maybe personal questions as far as the work side goes.
Right.
You know, all live performances have been canceled or postponed up to this point. Current travel fully restricted. So we're just not getting any real profitable requests, more just, you know, what do you think, you know, trying to get insight and a gauge of, you know, how
what to
I'm
do.
thinking, we may move forward. And as the owner, what my day-to-day looks like now is just supporting the employees that I do have left, because I do have 2 employees that I've reduced hours, but have yet to fully furlough, just because, you know, I just kind of felt a little, each business structure is going to have a right and a wrong way to do it for themselves. So for me, this was the right way. And just checking access to various pipelines of financial protection. And checking in with, you know, current clients, future clients, just to make sure what their mental temperament is like. Just you know, having a conversation. Every day I still have a meeting with my staff, you know, even though we're not really strategizing as far as tours or somebody's bespoke travel. You know, we have that every morning to look forward to as a team. And of course, all my clients know that I am there for them, even if it's for nothing more than, girl, can you believe?
Yeah.
Can you believe this is happening? Can you believe this is where we are?
So tell us, like, who are some of the clients that you work with?
Oh my Lord.
And can you, your camera is like, your face is only at the bottom left corner.
Yeah.
Like probably pull it down just a little bit.
Tall enough. And I set this up. Can you
That's better. That's better.
Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, because if you turn too much, your face was like gone.
I'm not very tall. Well, I'm not super short, but I'm not very tall either. So like I have a billion pillows.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do travel for Kelly Rowland, Nav, Booming Metro, Black Eyed Peas, Andra Day. Oh God, I'm forgetting people. French Montana. I mean, the list kind of goes on. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm forgetting anybody. I know I am.
It's okay.
A ton of people.
You named some very heavy hitters off the gate, so we're good. And anyone that is on the call, as you all know, if you have any questions, kind of as we're going through the webinar today, please make sure that you drop them. So kind of moving into our next question, for those who may not know, what restrictions do they currently have on travel, domestic and internationally?
Sure. Now, I took some notes on this because this is changing every day. And if I'm going to give this kind of information, I want to make sure that I give the most current, you know, information out there. So number one, all travelers returning from international travel destinations and cruises must quarantine for 14 days upon their return. So that means if you're a U.S. national coming back home, you have to self-quarantine for 14 days. Now, I don't know how they're, you know, checking this, but, you know, it is a requirement for when you return from anything abroad. Number two, foreign nationals that have recently visited China, Iran, European Schengen area, which is like Austria, Belgium, Germany, Italy, France, or the UK or the Republic of Ireland cannot come into the States at all. Domestic passengers, there's not really any major alerts, but domestically, the industry is asking that you restrict your travel to essential movements only. Treatments for like chronic illnesses, health workers, like extreme personal situations are kind of like, you know, what people are looking at. And always practice your social distancing.
Right.
Always wear your protective gear, wipe everything down you come into contact with. I mean, right now, the airports, there's nobody there. And the people that are there, the work is so lacking that they're on top of whatever they can stay on top of because they want to keep their job, right? We're experiencing mass layoffs, mass furloughs, mass hour reductions across the board. So your TSA is going to be really quick. People, you know, it's going to be a very different experience traveling right now if you have to travel right now. A very different experience. A lot of restaurants in the airport closed. You know, a lot of lounges may have limited, you know, resources and benefits. It's just a whole new world. And really, there's no money there because, you know, we live in a society where people work and they get money based off of what clients or, you know, spend. Well, there's nobody spending any money. So there's not any money to put back into the business, essentially. So that cycle has kind of been broken. So, you know, every day is like a different situation, but these restrictions do change daily. I'm going to go ahead and give everybody a website that they should go on and check, you know, daily, the CDC website. So www.cdc.gov. And that will list, you know, different coronavirus, different travel restrictions, you know, all that stuff for people to stay up to date on a daily basis. Because like I said, it is every day it's changing.
Nice. And that's true. Cause I look at that website pretty frequently and I'm like, it's a new rule.
It's
like
a
every
new
day.
Rule every day. Yeah.
But I mean, they have to. Yeah.
Things will be stated in the morning and they'll be obsolete by the evening time. You know, I think last week, certain states weren't letting you, letting New York work, you know, New Yorkers in. Like, it's just been a constant change. I mean, the best thing I can say at this point is if you don't have to be bothered with travel, don't travel right now.
Right.
And that's how I make my living. And I'm telling people to just stay home because the longer we have to deal with this virus, the longer everybody's going to be out of work. And I know it's cabin fever. I mean, I'm single, you know, it's just me and my dog. It's gotten to the point where I'm like, what's that? What's that? I know I'm talking to my dog like it's a human being, but it's okay. You know, it's part of what we have to experience right now.
Right. I saw a question come through. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let this one go ahead and slide in because she had asked because we probably could table it to the end, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it in since it's fresh right now. Yeah. And it was how did you actually get celebrity clients?
Oh. Well, how did I get celebrity clients? It's definitely not an overnight thing. And it's not the easiest thing in the world, but I basically just built my career until I was able to have enough experience to get into a certain niche circle. So there's a lot of different travel niches. There's leisure and there's corporate and there's executive VIP and yada, yada, yada. So I kind of worked all those niches. And then when the opportunity presented itself, I was ready to seize the opportunity, right? Because opportunities come, but you're not always ready, whether it's your skill set or, your station in life to take on certain situations. So I was actually contacted by a record label. And that's kind of how I was able to get into the circle. And then my work acumen, you know, and the market I was in was a music market, a celebrity market. Those are the people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis, and your reputation will precede you. So you do good work, you get good references, and then slowly but surely you start growing in that space. And speaking up, saying, you know, not being afraid to reach out and let people know what you're doing, not being afraid to go to different events, to position yourself for certain situations and results, and being patient, taking it one day at a time. But I can say for me, putting myself in those situations when the opportunities came, because I had prepared myself to receive those opportunities, you know, I was able to retain and build. And that's really the key of it all, right? You need to retain. You can get it, but if you're not prepared to work it or to be of a certain professional level, you can have a bunch of celebrities calling you, but if you're not able to service them, then that becomes another issue. So the key is to not only be able to make that one-on-one contact with them, but to also be able to retain that business and then grow on that business.
Right. Nice. No. That is, look, all is true. I'm just gonna agree because I'm not even gonna go down that hole with you on that one. Because it's a completely different market.
It's a lot.
And it's not about putting out. It's about putting out good work. And sometimes it's about who you know, but it's really about reputation. Yes, like they don't care about these Instagram pages and all that. They just like, oh, such and such work with them. Let me call them and see what they did. And then if they clear you, then you're good.
Then you're good. And picking up that phone, being available when you don't feel like being available, it is a grind. It is not easy. You know, everybody wants the celebrity market, but a lot of people don't have the chutzpah to really deal with it. And I mean, not just the courage and the strength, but also the capacity to bow down. The capacity when you want to go left to just, you know, be quiet and, you know, because it's not always easy and people are not always sunshine and rainbows and happy and nice.
At all. I've had my share of them and I'm like, yep, not my market. Not my market.
But I mean, it's definitely a market where either you have a passion for it or you don't. You know, there's no way I can sit up and do coding all day. And I'm sure for somebody that loves doing coding, it is the jam. And that is the best thing that ever happened in life. But not so much fun for me. So it's kind of like, you know, the same thing. You need to have passion on what you're presenting to that market. And then you need to have passion for that market. And I mean passion, you got to take the good, the bad, the everything and work it.
Right. So question. So what types of trips do you foresee people taking when outside is open again?
Well, like we talked about earlier, you know, what people are restricted on are what people typically start jonesing for the most, you know? So for me, I see people wanting to get out of their quarantine spaces as soon as the government says, okay, you can move about more freely. I see a lot of maybe local trips with flight times under 4 hours. So we're talking Mexico, Caribbean, Hawaii, you know, where people can go on short little jaunts. Maybe the 8-hour, 12-hour trip might not be feasible right now, whether it's finance or just because now you have a tick. You know, now you're like a little bit more nervous when it comes to traveling.
Yeah. Right.
But I think people are going to do a lot of driving, a lot of like short haul destinations where they can, like maybe for LA, you might drive up the coast. You might go up to Ojai. You might want to go to Palm Springs. You might want to do that 2.5-hour trip to Mexico for like the East Coast people, you know, Barbados, Anguilla, Jamaica. So I see a lot of these short-term, really nice trips just to get out of your personal space. And then I also see the live music market coming back, the live entertainment market coming back. I think it's going to look a lot different, but I think people are going to be anxious to get back to some sense of normalcy, you see, you know, and for some of the festivals or events that have not been canceled or have been postponed, people are going to want to go back to doing those just to feel like themselves again, or to feel like, you know, the center of their universe isn't spinning so much. So I think we will probably hit the ground running first with just like, I got to get out of here. And then we'll start, you know, seeing the work stuff pick up.
So do you think that, so some of these international countries that have not been hit the way that America has been hit, for example, you know, your Jamaica, your Mexicos, and so forth, do you think they'll have restrictions on us coming into their country?
Restrictions, yes.
Or do you think that they're going to need our tourism money in order for, because that's how majority of them work and live. I do lots. I'm also a wedding planner, so I do a lot of weddings in Jamaica, and I know, I work with several vendors there, and they literally rely on Americans to come there to do their events or travel and things of that nature. So, like, I'm just curious, and I am sure we may or may not know now, but would they kind of be like, oh, we want to protect our life more than
I don't
money?
think it's going to be restrictions to that level, but I think there's going to be some restrictions as far as like crossing over in, you know, through customs, through clearing customs, like making sure temperatures, you know, aren't too high, and just being extra cautious. You know, lines may be a little bit longer, things may take a little bit longer, that kind of change. Also,
so no, like, so there literally would be like a nurse station, or TSA may turn into, you have to take your temperature before you go through security.
Before you can go through security, or before you can even do some of the, you know, the little trips, like you have tours and things of that sort that you do when you're on trips. You might want to go for a margarita tasting or whatever, you know, the situation is. I think those might start being a lot smaller, so people aren't so on top of each other. So there will be some changes, and there may be some slight restrictions, but I don't think there's going to be something like a ban. Like I said, I think people are going to take a lot of trips to Mexico and to the Caribbean and to Hawaii, because I don't want these places to open and then we're all like, I'm gonna go here because they don't have a lot of cases, and like, some of those hotels may not be staffed. See, that's the bigger fallout, is that what people don't realize, a lot of hotels are being closed right now. You know,
I had a wedding. I had a wedding in May. Hotel closed.
Yes, it's closed. And most people don't stay in hotels that are like Mexico, like owned by a Mexico owner or owned by a Jamaican owner. Most people go to hotels that are brands that are owned internationally by, you know, by people in major countries, United States, United Kingdom, China. You know, these are major business moguls. So some of these hotels may not even be available to book, or if they're available, they may not have been able to bring their staff back quick enough. So maybe only a portion of the hotel is open.
Right.
So yeah, and I also think that people are going to get more into the wellness, experiential, humanitarian travel spaces as well. A lot of people are going to get like, say you have a conference and you just kind of tag on a couple of days on the front end or the back end of the conference. We're going to start seeing a lot of those, because people are going to have to go back to work too, even though they want that breather and they want that break. You know, in certain markets, you're going to have to hit the ground running, because it's time to recoup now. Like, basically 2020 for business owners is a loss. It is a wrap. Pay your taxes, call it a wrap. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, it's
so
still
you
going
you
to be a
said
process. Pardon me?
you said something about conferences,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to get your take on that as well. Like, how successful do you see large scale events like conferences, meetups, family reunions, things of that nature, in the future as well?
So, like I said, I think I'm shrinking again. Like I said, I think that people really want to get back to a sense of normalcy, right? So anything that can be salvaged for this year, I believe people are going to eat it up, hook, line, and sinker. Like Coachella is probably going to have its biggest turnout for the end of the year. Everything that's been changed and modified, they're going to have huge turnouts. But I also think that these events may be scaled down because some of the venue spaces may not be available. And I'm not talking about just venue spaces for concerts. I'm talking about venue spaces for conferences, venue spaces for weddings. Like I said, some of these hotels may not come back. And a lot of times for conventions and weddings, you're not only doing your rooms at the hotel, but you're also doing your meeting space and your wedding space because you get an amazing deal and you can kind of work it all in. So I think you're going to see a huge scale back, and not necessarily because they want to, but because we will have to scale back certain events. I think I have some notes here on that too. Because of like venue availability, some of these venues may not, like these owners may lose these venues. Available housing options. It just may not be enough housing space for your 200 person conference. It might be enough space for 100 people or 50 people. And then the rest will probably have to webinar like we're doing now, like, you know, Zoom in like we're doing now. I also think things could be scaled back for financial reasons. People are taking huge hits right now. I'm an owner that's going into my own savings account to make sure that I'm able to maintain, you know, some kind of staff. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. So we're, as business owners, not only, you know, trying to see whatever funds the government can offer, but we're also taking huge pay cuts ourselves and spending our own money so that our employees are taken care of. And then also it's the whole security thing. We don't know what the end of this looks like. We don't know how people are going to act. You know, people are acting up over toilet tissue. I mean, these are things you have to think about. So, they're acting up over toilet tissue. So there may be a more detailed security process. That means hiring more people to go through bags, to, you know, the temperature testing, you know, things could look a lot different. I think we're going to see some of these events actually being scaled back. And for non-essential, plus a few, I think we might be looking at seeing a lot of events open up to that virtual penny. Because, I mean, you may not be able to charge $500, you know, a ticket for access, but, you know, HBO and Cinemax have been doing this for years, where you can buy a membership and have access to different, you know, boxing events or sports events or concerts. So we might be looking at some things like that too.
Nice. It's refreshing to know, because I have a conference in the fall with the Prevailing Woman that we do. It's an annual conference. And I was so nervous. I was like, you know, I moved it, so it's in November now. And so, you know, prayerfully everything, you know, everything
but also, a lot of people are postponing and moving. There's a lot of postponement to November. So you may get people that can no longer do your event because another 2-3 events have been moved, or they might have already had in November.
We've been playing switch, but it's also opened up to people who can now.
Yes, absolutely.
So
it's give and take. I feel there's going to be a lot of loss, but there's going to be a lot of reward
Yeah, I think once everyone is kind of like, pretty much almost sold out, thank God.
Yes.
And that's been since the pandemic that the ticket
I've
sales
not
have
heard
skyrocketed.
any conferences say that they have a problem selling tickets. They don't have a problem with getting people to attend these events because people are hungry to get out the house. People are hungry to get back to their lives. People are hungry to get connected with like-minded individuals. People are missing their tribes right now. So I don't think there's going to be an issue with selling tickets, with getting rooms booked or going to conferences. I think the issue is going to be with the available space.
Right. And I was on it early. When I got whiff of it, I called the venue like, hey, can you go ahead? And then I went ahead and made that change because, again, I'm end up playing a brain. I was like, I will not get left out in the dark with this.
Even weddings and conferences now, we may be looking at spacing. We used to, I used to do events and conferences, and you try to get as many chairs in that space as possible, right? No more. I really think we're going to have to open up those spaces or take out some of those tables and chairs so that there's more. It's less bodies and
body touching and just for comfort, like for people to be comfortable. Makes sense. I can see that. So what tips would you give to someone traveling that's actually, well, you kind of went in this a little bit, but traveling during the pandemic and once things are clear, just to kind of keep themselves safe and to protect their travel as well?
Yeah, I would say don't travel during this pandemic. Like, honestly. And I am the travel goddess, so I love a good trip, right? I'm single, I don't have any kids, I don't have any husband. I could certainly be taking advantage of these $69 tickets to go around the world.
Listen, the emails look so tempting. And they're like, no cancellations and no change fee through January 2021.
I mean,
I'm like,
it's
a
just real situation. It really, really is. But I would say don't travel right now. Just
has anyone on the call, have you all purchased or took advantage of any of these low price tickets with anticipation to change the date or change the location that you're going to? Just curious if anyone has done it, because I am on the fence. For $60, I'm like,
I would say buy as far out as you can, but definitely not within the next 30 days. I wouldn't. Yeah, because you're probably not gonna.
Yeah, for sure.
And even like some people have taken advantage, and what they found out is they get there and nothing is open. Like one of my girlfriends told me about one of their friends were like, oh my God, these seats to Hawaii are $100. So they bought these seats to Hawaii, but they get there, they check into their hotel. The next day, their hotel closed. Like, it's happening. These hotel closures are happening that fast. Airbnb, you're like, oh, well, I won't do a hotel. I'll do Airbnb. Okay, Airbnb are rich people's vacation homes, most likely. Who do you think has gone back to their vacation homes? They've made mass exoduses out of the city. They're going back to their homes in Hawaii, in Jamaica, in Mexico. They're staying in their own homes. And then some Airbnb markets, they're not even allowed to do rentals with anybody right now. Like Palm Springs, because they have an aging, community, they don't want people in and out of Palm Springs. They're not equipped.
Right. So what about after? Like once things are clear, like what would be your suggestion? Should we still be purchasing travel insurance?
Definitely.
Should we be calling the resort to make sure how many people is your hotel fully staffed so that we can go in with the anticipation of what the service is going to be like?
At this point, you should be working with a travel agent. If after the pandemic you're booking travel on your own, woe be unto you. Because I think a lot of people learn going through this is I'm able to do things that you're not able to do on your own. So a lot of people, and if you book your ticket yourself, you cannot call me when something like this happens, because I'm not sitting on the phone for 2 hours for a ticket I didn't book. So I think after this, I would highly recommend that people start using travel agents. We are worth the fee. We are worth the cost, the additional cost, because we will help you get out of so many situations. Now, for those that want to still do their own travel, definitely suggest buying travel insurance. Like that is absolute must at this point. And to have some patience. So I did write down a few things. I think traveling right now, like, you need your mask and your gloves and all that stuff. But, also boosting your immunity for travel. People were doing that a lot anyways, but now I think people are a lot more conscious about it. And then be patient, because flights are being canceled sometimes less than 24 hours of departure, which you were talking about in Atlanta. All those planes were just docked. I mean, people are going to the airport, and because the load is so light, that plane may not operate until next week now.
Right.
And yeah, you can get your money back, but if you really needed to get someplace, I mean, now you're paying $60 for a ticket. It doesn't matter if you get your money back. It doesn't even matter at that point, because you need to get from point A to point B. So that's what's kind of going on right now. And then I would say after post-pandemic, I think people will have a heightened sense of hygiene, of cleanliness. Like, people are going to be extra sensitive to the germ patrol now, you'll
no more picking on the OCD people.
No more picking on the OCD people. A lot of high fives going on as well. But I also think that you're going to see the current prophylactics and habits being extended well beyond the all clear. Like, I really think that people are going to take these hygiene habits with them on a long haul, because, I mean, I've been traveling a long time, and I can remember maybe 5 years ago when you traveled in Asia, all of a sudden you started seeing all the Chinese people with the mask and the gloves. In Asia, they've been traveling like this since, I think, H1N1.
Right. They have. They've been traveling. They're the only ones I ever see in the airport with the mask and the gloves.
And I'm guilty of a bit of snarkiness, and I'm guilty of a bit of teasing. Like, what's wrong with these people? But I think we're all going to be traveling like that.
Oh, yeah.
In the future, especially after something like this.
Right. Even if you just go to the grocery store, everybody has on masks and gloves.
People are going to at least have those gloves on, I think.
Yeah.
Those masks are a little cumbersome. They're a little crazy. That's something you kind of really have to get used to.
I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't think.
Now they're telling people to wear bandanas. I'm like, please.
I just feel like the masks are for the people who actually are sick.
Yes.
So I don't know why they would want everyone to wear them when they're really for the people that are actually sick.
Yes.
I don't know. That's been my thought process.
I think when it's for this, there's a lot of reaction and not pro-action.
Right.
So, on your day-to-day, even when you're running your company, you want to be more proactive than reactive. We're being so reactionary now that nothing even makes any sense.
Right.
We want to call to action, but we're not getting all the information. And when you have to communicate information and you don't have all the information and you want to be reactive, a lot of wrong information goes out really quickly.
Right.
So,
right.
I think, again, it's just a day-to-day process.
Right. So 6 months from now, and we're definitely open for taking any questions. Anyone has any travel related questions, starting a travel business, working with celebrity clients, just anything of that nature, please make sure you all drop them in the chat.
Yes,
6
please.
months from now.
Well, 6 months from now.
What do you foresee the world looking like?
Well, I think this pandemic has taught, if it's taught us nothing else, it's taught us that we can only take each day as it comes. So, I mean, as far as forecasting or foreseeing I'm so overwhelmed with everything that's happening that I'm like, you know what, today is the day that I can deal with. I can only deal with one day at a time. But what I hope it looks like beyond this point is that I hope that people are more empathic one to another and more patient. I hope that people continue to feed their souls while balancing the day-to-day grind. I know that the productivity and profit are important, but maybe we're starting to learn that nature, family, and self-care are also very important. And hopefully we are all able to gather tools and resources that will help us to continue to be our best selves as we move forward into what this looks like after.
Nice. So now that we have a clear understanding of how the travel will be and kind of how we need to be moving forward and what we can and what we can't do, what are you working on? Like what are your next steps when all this is over? What are you going to do?
So
you done told us everything that we need to do. Just curious now, what will your life look like after this? What are some different things that you're working on in preparation for when what I like to say, when outside opens? Like what is it that you have?
Yes. So for me, I'm working on me right now. As a business owner, I think I've put so many people, places, and things ahead of myself, where I wasn't really living the healthiest or happiest life. So I'm restructuring and repairing the foundations of my business, you know, because every industry is going to change. So I'm looking at the foundation that I currently have and just making some tweaks and adjustments and repairing that foundation, learning how to stay connected, even though we're all physically separated, because when we get back into the thick of it, isn't that the sense where like people that love us feel like we aren't staying connected to them, right? So I think if nothing else, this is teaching me how to stay connected, even though I'm separate from most people. Not pressuring myself in this moment. Like everybody, all of a sudden I'm like, people are like workout, gurus and I mean, they're turning on live and just having conversations. I'm like, what in the world is happening? So just learning how to not pressure myself in this moment. I don't have to be the next great anything right now. I just have to be the best me. Learning how to breathe. I didn't know how to breathe. My massage therapist used to say, you don't breathe. So teaching myself how to breathe again. I'm learning how to lean into life's processes because I'm a bit of a control freak. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So I'm learning how to lean into the process. This pandemic is something I cannot control. But there's also, without the pandemic in your regular life, there are things that you cannot control. You can't control how somebody's going to do X, Y, and Z. You can't control which turn your business is going to take. So taking those lessons on and learning how to lean into it. And I'm learning as you lean into something, it's not a tug of war. You're leaning into it. So it's going to give a lot so that you can proceed. Learning that my best life and my best love start with me. So
I felt that one.
And just taking each day as it comes with so much gratitude in my heart. I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful to be healthy. I'm so grateful to wake up and hear birds outside. I'm so grateful to not have to look at my phone every 5 minutes. So I'm really taking this time to reconnect with me, to rest and to lean in, because I know when it kicks back off, it's going to kick back off really hard. And we're going to be looking back on this like, dang, I wish I had me some Rona.
Yes.
Like, have me a bit of peace, you know? So really, I don't want to be on the other side of this regretting not taking advantage of this.
Right. That's beautiful. Beautiful. That's the first time I've heard any of our panelists really go into about they're taking this time to work like on themselves. Everyone has told me different projects, what they're working on, different things like that. And to hear that, that's good, because you know, we can't function if we're not true or taking care of ourselves. So it's good to kind of just take that moment. I think I'm going to take heed to some of that advice.
And when I come back, and when I come back and business as usual, I want to be the best person I can be, not just for myself, but for my employees. They deserve the best version of me, you know, for a future love. He deserves the best version of me. My family, they deserve the best version of me. So, you know, I'm just getting ready so I can, and then doing more webinars and getting more into my creative side, but not pressuring myself. Just not doing a tremendous amount of pressure right now.
Nice. Beautiful. I didn't see any other comments or anything that came through on the chat. Can you tell us how we can follow you, how any of our listeners can get in touch with you as well?
Absolutely. I'm on Instagram, The Travel Goddess on Instagram. I'm on Facebook under Nik Morales. You can go to my website, www.thetravelgoddessnik.com. And, you know, you can email me through the website as well. Would love to connect with, you know, any of you. If anybody wants to start their own travel business or have been just really interested in the travel space, I'm open to answering questions and all of that good stuff. That kind of stuff makes me very happy. Because I work all the time. And I don't ever have the time to pour back in to other people the knowledge that I've, you know, acquired on this journey. And we don't learn things to keep them inside. We learn things to pour into other people. So, you know, I'm very excited about the opportunity to just, you know, if people want to pick my brain, ask questions, curiosity, whatever, I'm around, and I'm good for two things. I'm good for a laugh and a word.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Nik. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time out, because I know that it is, what is it, about 5 o'clock? You're in LA, right? Or
it is it's about 5 o'clock. Yes. Okay. I appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to chat with me. Like I said, I'll send over the link for the replay so that you can take a look at it. Everyone that's on the call today, thank you all so much. Just a quick announcement. We will be going again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That topic is about reclaiming your time during this pandemic. And that is with Kaya Johnson. She is a event production specialist out in Atlanta. So we have several celebrity business owners we this need to week. Connect. And, you know, people of color are getting into this space. We just are not connected. I think, you know, this may be a great time to connect with people of color in the travel event space. I think we
Yeah.
can really do a lot to support and help each other.
Absolutely. Well, I will definitely take advantage of that. We'll be contacting Paris shortly and letting her know. But Kaya is here. She also is in a similar field. She doesn't do weddings like me, but she's more so into the event space.
Yeah.
And so she's going to be talking a little bit about, she's about helping with time and budgets and financial service. She does everything for her clients.
Lovely.
So she's going to talk with us tomorrow at 1. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you again, Nik. I highly appreciate it this evening, and have a good remainder of your evening.
You too, my dear. Thank you.
Okay.
Again.
All right. Bye.